I raised my brother from the time he was 10, paid for everything, loved him like my own. Then his wife called me pathetic and he said nothing. So I took it all back and taught him what loss really means. The invitation arrived on a Tuesday. Cream cardstock, elegant script, the kind you pay extra for. I opened it at my kitchen table, the same table where I used to help Danny with his homework, where we ate cereal for dinner because that's all we could afford back then. Mr. and Mrs. Patterson request the pleasure of your company. Except they didn't. My name wasn't on it. The envelope was addressed to the Howard residence, a generic placeholder for wedding vendors and distant acquaintances. I stared at it for 20 minutes before I understood. I wasn't invited to my brother's wedding. I called him. 3 rings. 4. He answered breathless, happy. Hey, did you get? Why wasn't my name on the invitation? Silence. The kind that speaks louder than words. Danny, listen. His voice dropped. Jessica doesn't think. She feels like maybe it's better if. Better if what? If you didn't come. He rushed the words out like ripping off a bandage. She thinks she said you're kind of pathetic, honestly. The way you hover. The way you still treat me like I'm a kid. She wants the wedding to be about us, you know? A fresh start. I couldn't breathe. The kitchen blurred. And you agree with her? Another silence. Longer this time. I love you, man. But Jessica's my wife now. I have to respect. She's not your wife yet. And you're only marrying her because I paid for the ring. The condo you're living in? My name's on the lease. The honeymoon you're planning? I co-signed the credit card. That's not fair. You're right. My voice was steady now. Cold. It's not fair. I was 16 when Mom left. You were 10. I dropped out of college to keep us fed. I worked 2 jobs so you wouldn't have to. And now I'm pathetic because I care too much. I didn't say that. But you didn't say anything else either. I hung up. For a long time I sat there holding the invitation. Cream cardstock. Elegant script. Expensive. I paid for that too. Then I opened my laptop and started making calls. If they wanted a fresh start, I'd give them one. They just have to build it themselves this time. What would you have done in my place? The wedding was on a Saturday. I didn't go. Obviously. Instead, I sat in the condo I'd bought for Danny 3 years ago. The one with the downtown view he'd always dreamed about. The one I'd scraped together a down payment for by selling my car and taking a second mortgage on my own place. I didn't cry. I just sat on his couch, my couch technically, and scrolled. The photos started appearing around 2 p.m. Jessica's maid of honor posted first. A shot of the bride getting ready, laughing in a silk robe, champagne glass raised. The caption, "New beginnings with my queen." Then came the ceremony photos. Danny in a charcoal suit, the one I'd helped him pick out, the one I'd paid for when his credit card declined. He looked happy, radiant, like a man with no weight on his shoulders. I guess that's what happens when someone else carries everything for you. The reception photos rolled in like punches. The first dance, the cake cutting, toasts from friends I'd never met, people who'd known him for months while I'd known him for 20 years. One groomsman posted a video. To Danny and Jessica, here's to fresh starts and leaving the past behind. Everyone cheered. I zoomed in on Danny's face in that moment. He was smiling. Not a flicker of guilt. Not a trace of hesitation. I had been erased. I clicked through Jessica's profile. There were photos from the engagement party I hadn't been told about. Pictures from the bachelor party I hadn't known existed. A whole wedding hashtag. Hashtag Patterson party starts now. Not a single mention of me. Not one. I scrolled back through the years of my photos. Danny graduating high school, I was the one in the audience. Danny getting his first apartment, I was the one holding the moving boxes. Danny landing his first job, I was the one who bought him the interview suit. In every photo I was there. In the background, invisible labor, unpaid love. And now I was just gone. I set my phone down and looked around the condo. The furniture I'd assembled. The TV I'd bought him last Christmas. The kitchen where I'd taught him to cook because no one else would. I picked up my phone again. Not to scroll. To call my lawyer. If they wanted to start fresh, they'd start from zero. Was I wrong to feel this way? I didn't sleep that night. Or the next. I sat at my kitchen table surrounded by paperwork, Lease agreements, bank statements, co-signed loans, insurance policies. Everything I'd ever given Danny, documented in black and white. Legal. Binding. Mine. He'd never questioned it. Never asked why his name wasn't on the condo deed, why I was still listed as the primary on his car lease, why his credit cards were linked to my accounts. He trusted me completely. That trust felt like a knife now. My lawyer called Monday morning. Her voice was professional, detached. You have every legal right to terminate these agreements. The condo's in your name, you can sell it. The car lease can be ended with 30 days notice. The credit cards can be closed immediately. Do it, I said. Are you sure? This is your brother. Do it. She paused. There's also the honeymoon. The resort reservation is under your credit card. The flights too. I closed my eyes. Saw Danny's face in those wedding photos. Heard Jessica's voice. Pathetic. Heard Danny's silence. Cancel everything. After I hung up, I sat in the silence of my apartment. The walls felt too close. I couldn't remember the last time I'd done something for myself. Bought something I wanted, went somewhere I chose, lived a life that wasn't built around him. A memory surfaced unbidden. Danny at 12, burning with fever, crying because he thought he was dying. I'd held him all night, washcloth on his forehead, singing the lullaby Mom used to sing before she left. He'd whispered, voice small and broken. Don't leave me. Please don't leave me. Never, I'd promised. I'll never leave you. The tears came then. Not angry tears. Grief tears. The kind that come when you realize something you loved is already dead. I wept for the little boy who'd needed me. For the man who'd forgotten I existed. For the years I'd given that would never be acknowledged or returned. Then I stopped. I wiped my face, straightened the papers, and opened my laptop. There were calls to make. Accounts to close. A life to reclaim. If he wanted to be free of me, I'd give him exactly what he asked for. Complete independence. Starting now. Should I have walked away? Or was I right to take it all back? The first thing to go was the honeymoon. I didn't make a scene. Didn't send a dramatic text. I just called the resort in Bali, the one Jessica had chosen because it was Instagram perfect, and canceled the reservation. 7 days, oceanfront villa, couples spa package. All of it charged to my credit card. The refund hit my account within 48 hours. Next was the condo. I contacted a realtor Wednesday morning. She walked through, nodding approvingly at the renovations I'd paid for, the furniture I'd assembled, the view I'd worked 60-hour weeks to afford. This'll sell fast, she said. Great location. How soon do you need it listed? Immediately. By Thursday afternoon there was a for sale sign in the lobby. The car lease was easier. One phone call, 30 days notice. Danny's silver Accord, the one he'd picked out, the one I'd co-signed for when his credit wasn't good enough, would be repossessed by mid-August. I closed the credit cards Friday. All 3 of them. The ones he used for groceries, gas, those spontaneous dinners with Jessica where he never checked the bill because someone else always covered it. I didn't tell him any of this. I just moved in silence, surgical and precise. He didn't notice until Saturday. My phone rang at 9 a.m. Danny's name lit up the screen. I let it ring twice before answering. What the hell is going on? His voice was panicked, raw. The resort said our reservation was canceled. Jessica's freaking out. We leave in 3 days. I canceled it. Silence. Then? What? I simplified my finances. Cut unnecessary expenses. The honeymoon was expensive. That's our honeymoon, you can't just. I can actually. It was my credit card. But we planned. He was sputtering now, drowning. Why would you do this? My voice stayed calm. Flat. You wanted a fresh start, Danny. I'm giving you one. You and Jessica can build your life together. Without me hovering. Without me being pathetic. I never said. You didn't say anything. That was the problem. I could hear Jessica in the background, her voice shrill. Is that him? Tell him he's insane. Good luck with the wedding, I said. Congratulations on your new beginning. I hung up. The phone rang again immediately. Then again. Then a barrage of texts. Call me back. This is insane. We need to talk. I turned off my phone and poured myself coffee. For the first time in weeks, I felt something close to peace. Should he stop now or finish what he started? That night I couldn't stop thinking about the beginning. I pulled out an old shoebox from my closet. The one filled with photos from before everything fell apart. Before Mom left. Before Dad drank himself to death. Before I became a parent at 16. The first photo. Danny's 10th birthday. A grocery store cake with crooked candles. He's grinning gap-toothed, wearing a shirt 2 sizes too big because it was a hand-me-down from me. I'm standing behind him, 17 years old, trying to smile. You can see the exhaustion in my eyes even then. I'd worked a double shift that day to afford the cake. Another photo. Danny's high school graduation. He's in a cap and gown, holding his diploma like a trophy. I'm next to him in my work uniform. Didn't have time to change after my shift. He'd given a speech that day about making it against all odds, about proving people wrong. He never once mentioned who'd made it possible. I found the college acceptance letter tucked between photos. State University, full tuition. Danny had cried when it arrived, wrapped his arms around me, said, "We did it." Except it wasn't we. It was me taking out loans I'd still be paying off at 40. It was me staying at the factory job I hated because it had good overtime. It was me living in a studio apartment with a broken heater so Danny could have a dorm room. I remember visiting him freshman year. His roommate had asked casually, "Your dad's pretty young, huh?" Danny had laughed. "That's my brother." The roommate looked confused. "Oh, I just figured he acts like." "Yeah, he's always been like that," Danny had said, not unkindly but dismissively. Like my sacrifices were just personality quirks. Like raising him had been a hobby, not a second life I never chose. I found the last photo. Danny's job offer celebration 2 years ago. Jessica's in the picture, their third date, maybe fourth. She's beautiful, confident, looking at Danny like he hung the moon. He's looking at her the same way. I'm in the background again. Blurry. Out of focus. I'd always been out of focus in his life. The person who made everything possible but was never quite part of the picture. I closed the shoebox and put it back in the closet. He didn't erase me at the wedding. I'd been invisible long before that. When did loving someone become losing yourself? My coworker Maria noticed something was wrong on Monday. "You look like hell," she said, dropping a coffee on my desk. What happened? I hadn't planned to tell anyone. But the words came out anyway, halting, bitter. The wedding. The exclusion. What I'd done in response. Maria listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. "My sister did something similar to me," she finally said. "Different details, same story. I paid for her wedding, her first apartment, helped raise her kids while she partied. Then one Christmas she told me I was too controlling and cut me off. What did you do?" "Nothing." She shrugged. "I was so angry I wanted to burn her life down. But I didn't. I just walked away. Stopped answering calls. Stopped helping. 2 years later she called crying, asking why I abandoned her. What did you say?" I said, "You wanted independence. I gave it to you." Maria took a sip of her coffee. She never apologized. Never acknowledged what I'd done for her. But you know what? I'm happier now. I have boundaries. I have a life. Do you regret not making her pay? Maria looked at me carefully. Do you feel better? Now that you've taken it all back? I wanted to say yes. Wanted to tell her the satisfaction was worth it, that justice felt clean and pure. But I couldn't. I don't know, I admitted. That's your answer then. She stood up, squeezed my shoulder. Revenge feels good in the moment. But if it doesn't heal you, it's just another way of staying attached to people who hurt you. After she left, I stared at my phone. 7 missed calls from Danny. 12 texts. 1 voicemail I hadn't listened to. I thought about calling him back. Offering a truce, conditional, limited, boundaried. Maybe we could salvage something. Maybe he'd finally understand. Then I remembered Jessica's voice. Pathetic. I remembered his silence. I remembered 20 years of invisible labor, unpaid love, one-sided sacrifice. I deleted the voicemail without listening. Maria was right about one thing. I needed to stop being attached to people who hurt me. But I wasn't done yet. There was still one more thing I needed them to understand. What it actually costs to lose someone who loved you unconditionally. Was walking away enough? Or did they need to feel what I felt? Jessica called me directly on Wednesday. I shouldn't have answered. You're a vindictive, petty little man, she hissed. Danny gave up everything to protect you from yourself, and this is how you repay him? I almost laughed. Protect me? He told me how codependent you are. How you used money to control him. How guilty he felt cutting you off, but he had to for his own mental health. Something cold slithered through my chest. He said that. You made him feel obligated his whole life. Like he owed you. That's emotional abuse. The words hit like bullets. I wanted to scream that I'd sacrificed everything. That he'd been 10 years old and needed me. That love isn't abuse. But she wasn't finished. Honestly, he's relieved you're gone. We both are. You were suffocating him. She hung up. I sat there shaking, staring at my laptop. I had emails. Old ones. Danny drunk texting me at 2 a.m. during college. I don't know what I'd do without you. Birthday cards where he'd written you saved my life. A voicemail from when he got his job. I couldn't have done any of this without you. I could send them to Jessica. Show her the truth. Expose how easily Danny rewrote history to fit his new narrative. I drafted a message. Attached the files. Wrote, ask your husband who really suffocated who. My finger hovered over send. One click. That's all it would take to prove I wasn't the villain she'd painted. But then I'd be playing her game. Fighting for a truth Danny had already chosen to forget. I closed the laptop. If I sent it, I wouldn't be setting boundaries. I'd be begging for validation from people who'd already decided I was worthless. I deleted the draft. Some battles aren't worth winning. Have you ever almost become the villain in your own story? Danny showed up at my apartment on a Friday night. Unannounced. Desperate. I opened the door and barely recognized him. Unshaven. Circles under his eyes. He looked like I'd felt 3 weeks ago. Please, he said. Can we talk? I didn't move from the doorway. Jessica's furious. We had to cancel the honeymoon. We're scrambling to find a new place. The car's gone. His voice cracked. I know you're angry, but this is too much. You're destroying my life. I'm not destroying anything, I said quietly. I'm just no longer building it for you. That's not fair. Fair. The word tasted bitter. You called me pathetic. You uninvited me from the most important day of your life. You rewrote our entire history to make yourself the victim. I never, Jessica said. You let her. My voice rose. You stood there and let her call me pathetic. You agreed I shouldn't come. You chose her comfort over 20 years of my life. He was crying now, shoulders shaking. I was scared. I didn't want to lose her. So you lost me instead. I didn't think. That's the problem, Danny. You never think about me. You never have. I stepped closer, forcing him to look at me. Answer one question honestly. When's the last time you actually saw me? Not as your safety net. Not as your ATM. As a person. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Tears streamed down his face. He couldn't answer. That's what I thought. I stepped back. I loved you like a son. And you treated me like a subscription service you could cancel when you didn't need me anymore. I'm sorry, he whispered. I know you are. But sorry doesn't give me back 20 years. I closed the door. His sobs echoed in the hallway until they finally faded away. Was this justice or just more pain? 6 months passed. I moved to a smaller apartment across town. 1 bedroom just for me. No extra space for someone else's life. I started therapy on Thursdays, working through what my therapist called caretaker burnout and parentification trauma. Big words for simple pain. I stopped checking Danny's social media. Stopped wondering if he was okay. Stopped carrying the weight of someone who'd never asked me to put it down. I learned what it felt like to be selfish. To buy things I wanted. To take a weekend trip because I could. To exist without justifying my space in the world through service to someone else. Felt strange. Lonely sometimes. But clean. Then one Thursday afternoon a letter arrived. Handwritten. Danny's messy scrawl. I almost threw it away. Instead I made tea and sat by the window. Dear brother. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. Jessica and I are separated. That's not your fault, it's mine. I'm in therapy now. Learning things about myself I should have learned years ago. My therapist asked me to write down everything you did for me. Took 11 pages. 11 pages of sacrifices I never acknowledged. Birthdays you skipped celebrating so I could have parties. Jobs you hated so I could have opportunities. Dreams you buried so mine could grow. You asked me when I last saw you as a person. The truth is, I don't think I ever did. You were just always there. Like air. I didn't know how to breathe without you, but I never thought about what it cost you to keep me alive. I'm not writing to ask you to come back. I'm writing because you deserve to know. I see you now. I'm sorry it took losing you to finally open my eyes. I hope you're happy. I mean that. Danny. I read it 3 times. Felt the familiar pull, the old instinct to call him to fix things, to rebuild what we'd lost. But I didn't. Instead, I folded the letter and placed it in a drawer. Not thrown away. Not answered. Just held. Maybe one day I'd respond. Maybe I wouldn't. For now it was enough to know he finally understood. I looked out the window at the park below. A father was teaching his daughter to ride a bike, running behind her, hands ready to catch her if she fell. I smiled. Not with bitterness. Not with regret. But with something softer. Something like peace. I'd done my job. I'd raised him. Loved him. Let him go. And now finally I was free to raise myself. Thanks for watching my story to the end. Please subscribe for more mind-blowing real-life revenge family drama.